Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bill Gilkey for Arkansas Motorsports Magazine's Tuesday Night Tune-Up, and myself and co-host Heath Tate, we're down here in Mableville, Arkansas, and we've got a packed house here tonight and a great show in store for you. When I say we got a packed house, boy, do we. We've got Blake Wilson down here. We've got J.J. Borden, Dylan Hollingshead, Jeremy Wilson's over here, and Brandon Staggs is back here, and those two are going to join us a little bit later in the program. But to get going tonight, we've got to thank our sponsors. We got to thank Chambers Bank with 28 locations throughout Arkansas to help serve your banking needs. We want to thank Kevin Rogers at KR Performance Fuels. We've also got to thank True Grit Auction Company, Arkansas's #1 online auctioneer. They've got some fantastic auctions going on again this week. Be sure to check them out on their Facebook page. Skyway Buick GMC up in Joplin, Missouri. I'll tell you what, if you're in the market for a new or a late model used vehicle, there's no better deals around than Skyway Buick GMC. Check them out. Also, we want to thank the Vaccinate Arkansas program of the Arkansas Department of Health for joining Arkansas Motorsports Magazine's Tuesday Night Tune-Up. And like I said, think about getting vaccinated. The life you save could be someone else's. So at this point in time, we will move over to the Weston Petroleum this week in racing's latest and breaking racing news with Heath Tate. Heath, what's going on over there?
Well, we had the Topless 100 this weekend. You took care of that. We had...
No, I didn't win.
No. Well, yeah. And you looked hot, though. When you was up there working. A little warm out there.
All the staff was hot.
And had good racing going up there. Had good racing at I-30. I guess you guys was down there this week. And raced at Centerville. I guess they raced there.
Need to give a good shout out to the old veteran Wayne Brooks.
Friday night down there, he ran well.
And
won the Friday night race down there in the modified.
Peyton Taylor did on Saturday night.
And O'Neill won the Topless 100 down there.
Very exciting finish.
Great race for that kind of race.
Got to give props to Mooney Starr, who really worked hard all weekend after the rain on Thursday to get the track in the shape that he added in. It helped put on a great race on Friday and Saturday night.
Good racing.
And Billy Moyer Jr. good. He was on the show last week.
Ran well this past week. Ran real well.
What you got coming up this week?
Oh. We got, the street stocks are going to be running up there, 10,000 to win.
Schoenfield Headers Mid-America Street Stock Championship is this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Baseball.
You guys are off?
Yeah, we're off this weekend.
Yeah, so no racing for y'all.
Race Plummerville Friday.
Yeah, we're at Plummerville Friday night.
Friday night, y'all get to go there and race, so, okay.
Well, all right. Well,
want to say before we get going here, September 18th, all you car show guys out there.
Oh, yeah.
Down in Danville, we got a car show going on. There's a festival, Petty Jean River Monster Festival, we call it.
Gigantic car show.
Gigantic car show, yeah. All proceeds that we get, anything that goes out of that goes to scholarships for 5 students in our county. All of them are under the name Lieutenant Kevin Maynhart, who was killed in the line of duty down there. But yeah, show up. Great show. Or music, all kinds of stuff going on down there that day.
Oh yeah, got a fantastic musical showcase and cash prizes in the car show.
Cash prizes in the car show.
And while we're on racing, we're also going to have a race here that day for all you kids out here. The Power Wheels race. So you kids out there, get those Power Wheels charged up and have Mom and Daddy bring you.
Y'all come out, and anybody wants to come out and support that. It's a great cause. And that same weekend, September 18th, y'all guys will be racing for $6,000 that night there at I-30. And in saying that, I guess we're starting the show right now because
start her off.
Right there with saying that because that's a race that you put on.
Yeah, we started 2 years ago and was at 5,000, and then last year it went to 6,000 as the car count grew. So looking forward to see what we can do this year.
Right. All right. Good deal. We'll start with Dylan down there.
Dylan Hollingshead.
on the end. You know,
Who we found out is related to our good friend Shorty
Shorty,
Hollingshead.
Shorty out of
Yeah.
up there at Fort Smith area. But yeah, Dylan, how do you know we're talking racing here? So I guess we'll talk about how you got started in
Oh, Lord.
racing.
Well, back in the early 90s, my grandpa and his brother, they went to Arizona and figured out how to build dwarf cars. So went down there, they came back,
And your grandpa was
Jerry Cotton. And when they came back, they started, building 3 or 4 cars, and they started putting them out there, and before they knew it, it kind of grew real big, and then swapped over to these cars. So my grandpa sold out on the dwarf cars and built show cars. That's what he likes to do now, his free time. So started out, and JJ's dad and my brother-in-law worked together, and he said, "Hey man, y'all come out to I-30 tonight and watch us race." So we went out there, and then that's when I met Blake and Jeremy and everybody else, and kind of got hooked from there. So the more I helped and the more I worked, the more I came over here, I asked Jeremy, I said, "Man, I want to build a car." So we got a car, and kind of wasn't what we wanted it to be, and so then JJ had a backup car. He said, "Hey man, just come over here and get this one." So we brought it over here, and Jeremy reclipped it for me and kind of taught me everything I needed to know about them. And very first race I ever ran in a Mod Lite was at Super Nationals last year. Got it
So
all
you're-
4 pieces.
You're the best
You're
one.
fresh.
Yeah, I broke it in good. Broke it in real good.
real good.
And got it tore up, and that's just part of racing. And then kind of continued on to this year, and it's about the only kind of racing I've done besides a little bit of factory stock stuff. And I wasn't in it very long, about a year. And then these cars have just always been fun, helping Blake and going out and seeing how many races he can win a year. Between him and Jeremy and JJ here, so it kind of got me hooked, and I've been here ever since.
Well, we're sitting here in this shop, and there's cars in all stages of completion sitting around us. What is it that attracts you to this style of racing versus other types that we would have at different dirt tracks here in Arkansas?
Man, in all honesty, it's just the cost of these cars is just so much cheaper than anything else you could possibly think of building. It's like you can buy tires twice a year, change oil every 5 races, you're good to go. You ain't spending a whole lot of money, and for the speed you get for the amount of money you spend, it's pretty ridiculous.
What was your first impression? And I'm going to make this, Aaron, and get ready. I'm going to make this our Shaw Race Cars question of the week. And well, like I said, they're our featured sponsor this week, the Shaw Race Cars up in Batesville, Arkansas, builders of some of the finest IMCA modifieds anywhere in the country. And this is our Shaw Race Cars. What was your impression when you first sat down in the seat of one of these cars and hit the track with it?
Well, when I finally got took off, once I learned how to drive it, but I got out there and didn't really know what to expect, and I was wondering why everybody was passing me so fast. And so I kind of just went to the next gear and seen how far I could go before I could spin out. It didn't take me long to spin out, but I seen how far I could push it. And in all honesty, Nick Chisler let me drive his car one night in hot laps before I ever built one. And then when I drove his, that kind of, pushed me a little bit further to build one. And I mean, I'm not going to brag on Jeremy or nothing, but he builds the best Mod Lite I've ever seen in my life. So he's the man to go to if you want to have a good car. He's helped me a lot and taught me pretty much anything I need to know about these cars.
Did you have something there? Do you see yourself staying in the? Like I said, we were talking before the show. This is one of the fastest growing classes anywhere of any type of class here in Arkansas. Do you see yourself in the future staying with these type of cars, or are you going to venture off to something?
Oh no, I'm absolutely going to stay with these cars. Like I said, if you come to a track and you have 30 different people running the same class and everybody offers to give you a hand if you need help, that's really what it's all about to me. Anybody out there, if you break something, they're coming to your trail. Hey man, do you need this? Do you need this? You need help? It's not just 30 people racing together. It's like a big family that goes out to the track, and we all just want to have a good time. And that's pretty much what it all is about with these cars.
and we may be getting too far ahead, but, you know, IMCA, which is the largest, racing sanctioning body, you know, I guess in the United States, maybe the world, has this year has brought the Mod Lights into their fold. How do you think that is going to affect Mod Light racing?
Hopefully it turns it into even bigger than what it is, you know, because, I mean, all over, there's a bunch of cars all over, but they're in certain areas, you know, it's not just like, you can build a stock car out of a Monte Carlo and go race anywhere in the U.S. And it's kind of growing more and more out, and with IMCA picking it up, I think it's going to grow it to that next level, and, you know, anybody can get in one, and it's not going to cost you $50,000 to build you a really nice car to go race.
And these are really nice cars, and they're you know, they are a full-fledged race car.
Yes, sir.
You know, from to where they're at today is just night and day from the old dwarf car racing that we used to do back in the 90s and early 2000s. So, you know, don't let the size of these cars fool you, because they are a full-fledged race car.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very fast.
Very fast.
Heath?
JJ, we're gonna move over to you now.
Alrighty. I got my first Mod Lite in 2014.
Is that the first racing that you done was Mod Lite?
No, sir. The first race I ever done was actually in a mini sprint. I raced for a guy, Mike Montgomery. He was gonna sell the car and asked me if I wanted to race it until he sold it, and me and Dad said, "Yeah, let's go." We raced it for probably 4 months. Raced with Jeremy Middleton, Dakota Gaines, Bryce Clark back when he raced mini sprints, and raced there for 4 months, and then got in 2014, got my first Mod Lite, raced it the full season, and through a bad partnership, it kind of got sold out from under us. When that happened, I came to this shop every day, every race they had. I was in the truck with them, going to every race, learning about them, watching them drive, learning everything I could, because I know I was going to get another one. We got another one. I raced it. It was purple. We called it purple car. Raced it for 2 or 3 seasons, and Jeremy told me I can have Blake's old car. It was a 2017. So we redid it for Dylan so he can race it.
Old purple.
Old purple.
Got old purple.
So,
Is it still purple?
No, sir.
No, it's like white.
I told him to
halfway
keep the
white.
purple, but he didn't want to keep the
Solid
purple.
You
white.
put maybe 2 cans of paint of white on it, and it's flaked off now.
Yeah.
So the faster it goes, the less it comes back with
Blows
white
paint
on it.
chips off of it now.
But we still call it old purple.
It's
Oh,
old
sure,
purple.
it's always gonna be old
Old
purple.
purple.
What do you what is it about? Like I said, you said that you drove the mini sprints.
Yes, sir.
And compare driving one of these to a mini sprint for the people that are watching at home.
Well, whenever you sit in a mini sprint, your legs are kind of squashed up, and you ain't really
There's
got
just
much
not a lot of room.
There's not. You got that motor next to you, and these Mod Lights, the motor's in front of you. You actually feel like you're in a bigger car. They're, to me personally, they're safer. There's a lot more bars. You have a lot better of a halo system. Yeah, these cars, I love these cars.
What did it feel like for you when you sat down in this Model Lite versus the winged mini sprint car? What did you immediately notice as far as the difference?
Driving wise, mini sprint, you drive one way in a mini sprint, I guess you'd say, which I drove back when they weren't as advanced as they are now. They were older, but when you get in these cars, you have rollover, you have pushing like a dump truck. I mean, you have so many different things, like a big car would. And I helped people when I was little bitty. Jim Gardner and Dusty Smith, watched them in a big car race, and to get in a car like this and have people like Scooter Scruggs telling me, "Hey, you should try this on that car," because they're so much similar to a 3-link modified.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference to me is just drive wise.
And I'm going to get off base here just a little bit, and ask a question because I've always been curious. But you talked about being cramped in the cockpit of the mini sprint. What has been the reason over years that car didn't evolve just a little bit larger for more driver comfort, do you think?
I'm not sure. I think they want to. I mean, personally, to me, I think they just want to stay compact like that. I mean, they're getting good speeds out of what they're doing with those cars.
But an inch here and maybe a half inch here would
Probably
make
wouldn't hurt.
drivers comfort
Yeah.
a whole lot better.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt them at all. But I honestly don't know why they want to stay the size they are. People, I mean, there's a lot of people that race those cars and they love those cars, but that's just what their particular thing is.
But you know, the old saying goes, if the driver's comfortable, you know,
Yes,
they're
sir.
going to do a better job out on the track. And that's just a question I've always wondered about is why, you know, we didn't move this or that, because I thought it would, you know, really in the long run would help the class.
Yeah.
Maybe get more people into it if they were more comfortable sitting in the car. But maybe Jeremy will have some insight on that a little later on the show. So.
I tell you, he's a pretty smart man. He might have an answer
He
for
is.
you.
man.
He, I see the wheels turn over there. So we're going to come back to that question later. So
All right.
Your
Y'all
turn,
looking-
Blake.
No.
who I understand is now I understand he is the Mississippi
The Mississippi State Champion.
State champion.
Yeah, buddy. Mississippi State
2
champ.
years in a row.
Two
Two
years in
years
a
in a
row,
row.
and we're honored to have you because we've never had an out-of-state state champion on the show.
And Florida.
And Florida.
He did win Florida
He did
one
win
time.
Florida.
Go ahead, Heath. I'm sorry.
All right, well, tell us how you got started in racing.
It was many moons ago.
Yeah.
Was it 2008 when you got one? 7? 2008. We got a dwarf car, and I was probably in middle school, maybe transitioning into high school. And Dad said, "Let's go look at a car." I said, okay, and we went over, and it was a small little dwarf car we got from Benny Baker, and we decided to go racing. Loaded everything up in the shop at the time, which was maybe a quarter of what we got in here now, and we went down south to a racetrack and went out for hot laps. We've never done anything like this before at all, and he told me to air the tires up. So I put my hand on that tire and I aired it up till you couldn't put any pressure in it, and he said, "All right, let's go." And we made it every corner and spun it every corner. But he's a good wheel man. But forgot to put his visor down, so he had mud all on his face. But other than that, we just been going and going. Over the years, we transitioned from dwarf car to Mod Lite, and then I helped him get into it, turning wrenches, and then all of a sudden I got my car. So that was 2010.
2010 when you got behind the wheel.
Yeah, that was pretty good time ago.
You was
I was
10th,
maybe,
11th grade.
I think I was 10th grade maybe. I think I was 15. I hadn't even got a driver's license yet, and hopped in a race car. But it's been a long ride. It's been fun.
And you don't just race here. You race for national points.
Yes, sir.
And you started off the year, I guess, down in Florida.
Yeah, we start out every year. Usually we try to go to Winter Nationals the first week. We always have a big show down there. It's usually where we have the most cars at any race of the year. Last year I think we had 60 or 70 cars down there for Friday night, and then the night portion of it rained out, so we continued Saturday during the day to try to have the early race and then the second portion of the racing for night number 2, but it rained us out. But we went down there. I can't remember where we started. It was like mid-pack or something, but we ended up getting second. We got really lucky, so had a really good car.
Have you noticed, you said 60 cars or so, and you travel all over and race. And we've talked about the Mod Lites are picking up quite a bit here in Arkansas. There's getting to be more and more and more. The areas that you've been traveling, what are you noticing there? Is it the same way, or are they already there as big, or is it still picking up in all these areas?
Really, it just depends on where you go. for example, if you were to go out to Texas, you know, Texas is a really big state. They've got a lot of area to cover. They've got different regions of Texas down there, I believe, still. So they've always had a decent car count, but when you can get everybody to come together in one show, agree to run the same set of rules, same everything, you're going to have more car counts even from that one region and the surrounding area and the following states around it. You're going to pull in more cars. So really, like, if we go to Florida, they've got a really good group of cars down there already. But when you add the rest of the United States, and we even had people from Canada come down and race in Florida, and it just puts on a really good show to have all different cars from different regions. You see a bunch of different chassis, a lot of different driving styles, techniques. You learn a lot. You know, you don't go down there just to race. You go down there to learn, and you come back home with your craft that you learn, and you try to apply it to what you have at home.
And you finished second down there, and that was the start of your national points for this year, and you're setting in what right now?
I really don't know. I don't think I'm in the top 30 or 40 right now. I think I'm like in the 50s or 60s. We've just had a lot of rain this year.
Right. Most all your points races have been
Yeah,
rained
most
out.
of our races have been rained out.
Mhm.
We've out of the races we've had this year that I've got to run, we've won 8 races out of the 13 that we've ran.
Right.
And 3 of the races that we were running, we didn't finish, but we were leading the race, and we just had car failure happen. So it's been a really good year. It's just for points racing, usually I'm more consistent. You know, just trying to finish top 5 every race. This year we really just wanted to go out and see what we can do in a year.
Did you have something?
Go ahead.
Oh, the traveling that you do, and y'all talked about it. You talked about the Mod Lite, the group of Mod Lite family and the stuff. Is it like that everywhere that y'all go, or is it just y'all's group that y'all have here in Arkansas?
It's always gonna be here in Arkansas, just 'cause you spend more time in the race shop with your brothers that you're friends
Right.
with basically than your family. Every Saturday night, everybody's not going to ask you what you're doing because they already know you're going to the races.
Right.
Yep.
So you don't have plans.
Absolutely.
If it rains out, you got a date night to make up for it. But everywhere you go, when you start racing on a national schedule, you start meeting more incredible people. They give you more opportunities to go race at other places, but they all have their own kind of family like we have in Arkansas.
Right.
So like you go there, they have their own little family going on. Everybody always welcomes you with open arms no matter where, and that's what I really like about this class is I can go to Florida and I've got friends down there, Austin Martin, Bo Bass, everybody down there is really nice. They cook for us every time we come down to the races. If we ever need any parts, they have parts that if they have new parts that we can buy from them, you know, if we break something and we just don't have it, you know, the Mod Lites are just a special group as they've said before. If anything ever happens, you're 90% of the time covered unless it's just a really big malfunction going on.
Like Kansas.
Like Kansas. Yeah.
Another Shaw race cars question of the week, and I'm looking up here on the wall over here to my left. It's got some of the racing checks that you won, and the Meyer Supply Tex Meyer's 8-Ball Classic you won back in July of this year. Tex Myers was such a instrumental guy in getting dwarf car racing and Mod Lite racing going here in Arkansas, and he's just a legend. How did that make you feel to win that race this year?
It was really important. Tex has done more for this class than anybody else I can ever think of. I mean, he's been around for years, and anybody at all ever needed a hand, he would be the first person to say he has it, or he can help, or he knows somebody that can help,
Or he can make it.
or he can make it. I mean, he had,
Oh, yeah.
he had a
Yeah,
CNC
yeah,
machine in his
yeah.
garage, man. It was awesome.
It was pretty cool.
You'd go over there to pick up a part, and you'd be stuck at his house for 2 hours
Yep.
just talking to him. But it meant a really big deal for me to go out and win the first race ever in memory of him. I grew up chasing him. My dad got into the class chasing him, and we chased him for years. And I have a lot of laps behind that man and learned quite a bit from him.
And the thing about Tex is, and he was a very special person, and I had the privilege of knowing him, is, you know, his arm reach just wasn't here in Arkansas. It was all the way across the United States. He had a big impact on this sport here, and you know, that stretched from coast to coast, and just a fantastic human being.
Absolutely.
He's just a fantastic human being.
So you're started when you was in 10th. We'll go back a little bit here. 10th grade, you know.
Chapter 2.
Yeah, we'll go back a little bit here. When you're 10th grade, and how long did it take at that point in time to, after you started realize that, yeah, this is what I want to do? And
I'd say when I realized it's what I wanted to do, I mean, I was in awe with the cars before I got in them, and then when I got my own, and I seen my dad go out there and blow my doors off in practice, the first plate I ever went to, and I thought, man, I could do this the rest of my life, and didn't think anything about winning. I just wanted to go out there and have fun. And he said, as long as you load it up on the trailer, I'll be happy. So I made sure we loaded it up on the trailer every night. I still try to do that sometimes, but other than that, I think the end of my second year, we started really catching along and catching up to the rest of the field and started being really competitive. At the end of my second year, we had a little feature out there, and it was just for any Mod Lite racer that had never won a race before. And I was in it, and there was quite a few other people in it, and we ended up winning that race, and it was the last race of the year. And I never really counted it or anything, because I was like, you know, if I want to win a race, I want to win with everybody that's been there. So that led us into our third year. And the first night out, I think we had car issues, but I can remember my first win I think it was spring break weekend. I know it was in March because we just went to Colorado right after the races. And I got my first win, got my first heat race win that night because Mr. Charlie and Tex kept stealing them from me.
Charles Chapman.
Yep. That's another one you
Who's
got.
another, you know, he's a
Big
tough
time.
competitor as
He is.
well.
Absolutely.
I said I put many of laps and nights behind them, but I learned from the best. So I had really good teachers. But I finally got my first feature win that night, heat race win that night, and then later on in the year, I think that year we ended up winning like 3 or 5 races, and then just kept building up each and every year. And then 2014, I won state championship. 2014 Winter Nationals we were supposed to go to, but I had to have shoulder surgery because when I went to Colorado on a ski trip, I ripped my shoulder off basically. So I couldn't go to Winter Nationals, so I was devastated. So I was like, you know what? Let's go win another one so we can go the next year. So
Are we still skiing?
No,
Okay.
not even on water.
Okay.
did
But,
at all that time there, when you started getting the hang of it and start winning a little bit, and then won a championship there, was you still? What was it like coming back in the shop? Cause was your dad still running at that point in time? And
Oh, we've ran.
and I mean, how the battles between y'all two? I mean, was it?
We've ran together ever since I even started getting into it. And he's had a year off here and there for work. But every weekend, that's my biggest competitor I have is trying to beat him. And I'm the same way with him. He's trying to beat me and I'm trying to beat him. And if somebody beats the both of us, we try to go out there and beat them and don't care who finishes first as long as it's first and second.
You know, in the competition level from within this shop here.
Yeah.
I mean, we
That's what I'm
arrived,
saying. Yeah.
and they didn't even know we were here because there was a lot of smack talking going back
Already,
and forth.
yeah.
And
And
I think we were here 30 minutes before they realized we were here.
I think so too, and that's what was pretty fun to sit and listen, but and y'all all work out of the same shop basically. Y'all all
Pretty
work out of
much.
this shop.
In the spot.
Yeah, everything goes on right there where the
Right there.
When we
Jeremy's
get
car
done, we
sitting.
just kick it outside and put
Yeah.
another one in here.
Yep.
You know, like I said, they were. You know, I can't imagine what the competition is like on the track because there was a lot of competition talk
There
going on
was.
here in
There
this
was.
shop. when we got here, and you know, and the great thing is it was all in fun, and everybody is,
Right.
but you know, are y'all still friends out on the racetrack when the green flag drops?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hit you in the ass a couple times.
They've had some troubles this year.
JJ spun out in front of me in Texarkana a couple weeks ago, and I hit him, broke some stuff. But you know, that's just part of it.
That's fine.
It's usually me and JJ. Me and Blake don't ever have issues with each other. It's just this year, me and JJ. It's if I finish, he don't, and if I don't finish, he does. So that's kind of year we've had together, but
Definitely.
it's been
Did you
fun.
move
22.
It has been
your
fun.
dad coming out of Florida to win?
Probably not.
I just had to ask that question.
Depends.
I think he will move him though.
Yeah.
I'll move
I'm
somebody
pretty
for
sure
him.
Jeremy will move Blake.
He'll nudge me, but he won't move me. But it'll be as close as we can probably get, probably banging on the doors. We won't take each other out, but we're gonna make it be like, hey, I'm here too, so we'll just see how it goes.
We'll ask him the same question, see if he gets the same answer.
Yeah, we're gonna. I'm saving some questions for him.
Oh no.
As we're winding down this segment of the program, we'll go to our very first of the show, the New Vision Graphics Vision of the Future. We'll swap it back over to Heath for that with these guys.
I guess it would be, what do we expect out of Dylan the rest of this year?
Don't tear up any other parts. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. As long as I can put it back in the trailer, you know, at the end of the night, and I don't care if I finish last. As long as I can load it up, I'm good.
As long as you can load it up and get it in the trailer, and it ain't
Yes,
gonna
sir.
cost you anything.
After the year I've had, it's been either running top 10 every race we finished, or getting taken out and having to put it in the trailer with a winch.
Gotcha.
Now you
So-
said you were related to Shorty Howe.
He is related to my dad.
Okay, but y'all are related.
Yes, sir.
And and you said your goal for 2022 was to top him in his accolades down here in Central Arkansas.
Gotta finish better than last time.
I'm saying that because I know he's watching tonight because he watches every week. But
Just gotta finish
JJ,
it.
same question for you. The rest of this year, what are we looking for?
Finishes. Like we've said, I've had a pretty rough year due to car failure, racetrack accidents. Mainly just looking to finish, not tear stuff up, load it in the trailer on its own power.
You go. All right, Blake. What are we looking for you? I know that you are going to Boone here in a couple
yeah,
of weeks.
absolutely.
Y'all are going to Boone up there and
Absolutely.
race.
Yep.
I'm gonna be watching at home,
Yeah.
cheering them on from the shop.
But I know Dylan and Blake are going to Boone, so I
Yes,
mean, anyway. But what are we expecting out of you? I mean, I know you're running for national points.
I'm nowhere near first place in national points, so we're just going to win. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we're running Marshalltown Friday and Boone Saturday and Sunday, and it's going to be the best competition.
And that's a good
Of
deal.
all.
And that's a good deal. Marshalltown's going to run on Friday night. I think it's 1,000 to win.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
probably so.
You know, and then Boone starting Saturday.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I mean, we want to go and have fun. Most importantly, we want to show everybody what we've got. We've had a really strong year. We want to end on a high note, just as the year's been going. I just want to run with the best, compete with the best, and overall win.
right. And come back without tearing the car up because y'all have your race. It's like the next week. No, it's 2 weeks after that, right? 2 weekends.
Yes,
Yes,
one
So
week.
yeah,
on
we
the
have
18th,
Boone,
so-
and then we have a weekend off.
Well, we
And
race
then
at
next
Plummerville in
week- yeah.
between.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And
we
you
race
got your
Boone
race at
and
I-30
all that.
there, so
Right. Yeah,
don't
that
worry
race
not
is
tear anything up. And,
16th, 17th, 18th. So
yeah.
if we do tear it up, we've got a good 2 weeks to go over it. So if we tear it up, oh well.
That's my logic.
all right,
Well,
guys, we appreciate you all inviting us
Sir.
down, and we're gonna do a little musical chairs here.
Alrighty.
and bring in Brandon Staggs and Jeremy Wilson,
The mad
And,
scientist.
The
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 mad
mad
scientist.
scientist. And anyway, we appreciate you
Appreciate-
guys,
appreciate
and good
y'all
luck
coming.
the
Yeah, guys.
rest of the season.
Yes, sir.
And
Appreciate
It's
it.
an honor having y'all here.
Yes, sir.
And while we're playing musical chairs, we're going to thank our sponsors again. We want to thank Shaw Race Cars up in Batesville, Arkansas. They're our featured sponsor this week here on the show. They're some of the world's finest IMCA modifieds anywhere in the country. They're built in Batesville, Arkansas, and we're proud to have them. We want to thank Chambers Bank with 28 locations throughout Arkansas. True Grit Auction Services in Dardanelle, Arkansas. Give them a call. Arkansas's #1 online auctioneer. Skyway Buick GMC up in Joplin, Missouri. Kevin Rogers with KR Performance Fuels and the Arkansas Department of Health Vaccinate Arkansas campaign. And while we're at it, we're going to give Eddie Horrier over at 4 Play Speed Muffler Shop
Yep.
in Plummerville and Western Petroleum another plug, as well as Ecky Harrison over in North Little Rock at Ecky's Parts and Accessories. So, well, I tell you, we've just been dying to have you two sitting here. And like I said, we've got Jeremy Wilson here to my left, and then Brandon Staggs. And Heath, I'll let you kick it off with these guys.
We'll start off here with Brandon. Tell us about your racing career and how you got started and what's going on with your racing now.
Well, when I was probably 12, 13, I started off helping Buddy Piper, Scooter Scruggs, all of them, and then
Oh, that was a rough start.
oh yeah, yeah, you mean. Then we went to about I guess I was 16 and started racing go karts. Did that for several years. Then I helped my brother-in-law on his modified for quite a while. Then I ended up racing motorcycles. And then I ended up back in cars. I came to the Mod Lite because I mean I can work on it by myself. It's not high maintenance. It don't cost me an arm and a leg to run it every week.
And that's what we hear a lot from folks around that, you know, I can go out and run the Mod Lights and I can have fun, I can enjoy myself, but it don't cost me a fortune every week to go race. You know, where other classes may cost you a little more every week to go race. So
What do you like about, other than the maintenance and being able to kind of do it on your own? Because obviously you don't have to do it on
Yeah.
your own because you've got these cut ups that
Oh,
are
yeah.
hanging around in here there to deal with. But
That come
What?
in the way sometimes.
oh yeah, I could see where that bunch that just left
Yeah.
could get in the way. But tell us about, obviously you had some other experience in motorsports. What was it like when you sat down in one of these on the track for the first time? What kind of impression did you get from the car?
From watching them, they don't look very fast, but when you get in one of them, it's stupid fast. Everything just reacts quicker. You would, I mean, I drove a hobby stock a couple of times, and all of it was just like slow motion to me, the way it all moved. But that right there, you learn to be smooth because it reacts so much quicker than anything I've ever, anything I've ever been in.
It's like driving a fighter jet.
Yeah.
That's
And
just how fast they are.
and heck, I didn't know nothing when I first started about them, and I ended up over here.
It seems like the go-to place down here.
It's
Yeah.
pretty busy.
Yeah.
It looks it. And he will jump over to Jeremy here. Let's get a little bit on your background in racing.
I started in 2007 racing the classics, like I told y'all earlier. When we first started, like he said, we didn't know nothing. But, it didn't keep us from, doing the best that we could do and asking questions. Best thing in any class when you first get into it is to ask questions.
Right.
Figure out what's going on, figure out what makes the cars work, and do some research on them. If you can do that, you can start getting ahead of the game faster than a lot of us that didn't have no help. So once you do that, you go, like I said, I came from the classics to the Mod Lites, which was like driving a Pinto versus a Corvette.
Well,
I mean,
and the classics, they would have been the old dwarf style
Yes.
cars. And if you don't care, and one thing we like to get into the show is a little bit on the technical side. Kind of, if you would, and another Shaw Race Cars question of the week, talk a little bit about the technology differences between the old dwarf cars that we started out with in the 90s and early 2000s compared to where we're at today with these Mod Lite cars.
Back then, everybody had to run like a Chevette front end with a ring and pinion rack. I mean, it was pretty much go out to the junkyard, get what you could run, and fab it up and make it work. Nowadays, when you go to the Mod Lights, I mean, you got all this new suspension that's coming out, your new upper eight control arms, the lower control arms. I mean,
Shock technology.
shock technology. I mean, it's just went through the roof compared from 2000s to where we are right now. I mean,
And if I remember correctly, back in the old classic or Dwarf Car rules, I won't say the rules even said back then you had to run the shocks off of the motorcycle when it first started.
when it first started, I believe you did, but I think after,
And I
the
think
late
everybody found
90s,
out that that didn't work too
they found
well.
out it didn't work. And
Because they were
everybody
trying to use as much of the motorcycle as they could.
Yeah. But then they started running like a Carrera shock.
Yeah.
And once they got that, it actually made the cars a lot better. And, you know, they've evolved into these Mod Lights. Everybody still likes running the classics. There's a lot of big shows in Arizona, Texas, places like that. But for everybody in Arkansas, it started with classics. But once it evolved to a Mod Light, I mean, the difference was daylight car.
Right.
You had all these other manufacturers that were building chassis, coming in there, giving a little bit more technical support on how to set them up, what you need for shocks, you know, compression, your rebound, where to put them, and it made a big advantage for people that just got into Mod Lights.
And we talked earlier, these, for people that may not know, they are full-fledged race cars.
Yes, sir. Every bit of it.
Yeah.
I've raced modifieds, late models, and I would not be scared to put these cars' speed and horsepower and power ratio versus any of them. I mean, I know late models a little bit faster, but if you compare them to a modified, I mean, me personally, I think the Mod Lights are faster than modifieds on a quarter mile track. When you go to a big track, yeah, modifieds probably won't pull you down a straightaway, but the speeds that these little cars got, I mean, it will surprise you. And the best thing about them is there's so much room on the track. When you're out here racing, we'll be 4 wide and still got enough room where if somebody else wants to stick his nose in there. It just makes it easier to keep the cars clean, a lot safer driving. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still an open wheel car. So the more room you get out on the track, the more safer it is. And for the speeds you're carrying,
And what speed are we talking about? Let's say at I-30.
I-30,
60, 70.
I'd probably say 70 to 75 on a good lockdown track.
Yeah. You just carry so much more
Yeah, I
corner
mean, you
speed.
just- with these tires that are on these Mod Lights, they're so much softer than modified. I mean, you have the modified Gromer in 60 and you got these tires Gromer in 40. You put the tires almost as wide as the modified on there and you're going to lay a lot faster lap times down. I mean, it's just, you can't beat a softer tire. If they would let you run soft tires on modified, I'd probably still own one. But other than that, yeah.
On the tires, and let's talk about the cost to run these cars on a weekly basis. Generally, what's the tire wear and maintenance cost per week on one of these cars?
Really, tire wear really ain't that bad if you know what compounds to use, because you are allowed to run a medium and a soft. If you'll run your softs, you know, when track's tacky, you know, it don't hurt the tires near as much. And if it gets dry slick, you can put that medium on there, keep a lot of tires. I mean, you don't have to run 2 different sets of tires, but I mean, it just helps the car come in and stay with you longer. And it keeps you actually from buying more tires. Because if you go on a dry slick track like that right rear tire, you're going to wear it out in, I don't know, 3 or 4 races.
Well, that's like Crawford County.
Yeah.
I mean, Louis tried to run a soft there,
Mhm.
lasted 2 laps in the feature.
It rubbered in though.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we all
I mean, it
went.
jerked the hide off his tire.
Yeah, we all went to
We all
mediums,
went to
and,
mediums, he went over and put us.
and heck, I'm
Soft
still
one.
running that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
but
And Brandon, what fuel costs? What's your fuel bill on a Saturday night on a race night?
shoot, $15.
Mine's 25 with 2 cars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
But-
Maybe $15
and you're buying fuel where?
At the track.
at the airport.
At the airport.
It's an E85 at the track.
So most of y'all's cars are on the E85.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
running av gas.
Okay.
Hey, you weren't supposed to tell me about that.
I don't care. I didn't tell him about the nitromethane.
Oh. You ain't helping them.
We'll save that for another show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is for sure.
we're sitting here, like I said, I'm sitting over here by the old chassis jig, and
Yep.
and it's very well known that you're a very talented chassis builder. And I'm going to get a little off base here, and you may or may not know the question, but obviously y'all done some mini sprint racing. But we talked earlier about why things may not be moved around in those cars to make it a little more comfortable for bigger drivers, and that'll be our four-play speed and muffler question of the week. Why do you think that the mini sprint car never has been made just a little bit bigger for driver comfort?
I think it's more or less because they want more kids in it. Smaller kids, I mean, they can start younger in mini sprints than you can Mod Lites. So to me, that's probably the biggest reason why they haven't made any changes to the car. 'Cause most of the people that drive them are usually 16 and
But we see a lot of older people.
Yeah.
yeah, we've been seeing a lot more, but as far as them changing it,
Do you think you'll see some of those older guys migrate over to the Mod Lite, or do you think
I'd like to see a lot of them do it, but
A lot of them,
Palmer
that's
just-
their
that's
style.
their
They
thing,
like
that's what
it.
they like.
it's what they like, it's what they've learned? And you talked about when y'all got started on this, you know, that you really know anything. What, and I know it's going to be different for everybody, but if there's somebody that's out there not watching that wants to do this, what do you think your wise is the learning curve to get where you finally get things lined out where you can be competitive? What kind of learning curve are we with these cars?
well, these cars, first 2 years are really the biggest learning thing you can do, and try not to learn bad habits. Talk to your fellow drivers, talk to people like we've had to lean on. We've leaned on Tex Myers, Charlie Chapman, Albert Bradshaw. I mean, we've leaned on a lot of people to get the information we needed to help us get to where we was. Don't be scared to ask anybody in the Mod Lite community for help, because it's out there. All you gotta do is ask for it. And that will start your curve way higher than somebody like me that started in a classic.
You had a modified, and
Yes,
you just got rid of it today.
Yes, sir.
The difference. Explain the difference in the modified and that Mod Lite. What are the differences in you sitting behind the wheel and making a lap at I-30 in the modified and making a lap in the Mod Lite?
To me, there's not big difference.
Okay.
I mean, to me, the cars still do the same thing.
And that's what I'm getting at. I'm talking about somebody that has been a modified racer
Well,
for a while, can jump in a Mod Lite as long as they, you know, and figure it out pretty quick as far as there's not a whole. You're saying there's not a whole lot of difference in the two cars. For you, there wasn't.
for me, there's not.
Right.
I mean, for somebody that ain't never been in a modified, it might be a big difference. For them.
Right.
I started out in these cars, and like I said, all they are is modified, scaled down. That's why they're called Mod Lites.
Right.
And the good flip side
Right.
of this, if you've got somebody out there that's never raced before, and they like the modifieds, but are really not in a position to handle the expense of that, this is an excellent alternative.
Absolutely. And you're not sacrificing no speed, no safety. I mean, everything you can get out of a modified, you can get out of a Mod Lite.
Right.
But the difference is, when you go to the track with a modified, I mean, you're going to spend $100 a night on fuel. You got to do oil changes every week.
You're going to buy tires every week
You're going to buy tires
if you're
every
going to
week.
compete.
You got to work on it 3 or 4 days a week. Well, these little cars, once you get them set up and dialed in, I mean, all you do is really nut and bolt them and just make sure the upkeep is, good on them. There's not a whole lot to them.
And Brandon, how many hours a week do you think you spend on your maintenance program? And no laughter from over there.
Yeah.
You're getting some help
I'm
Yeah.
already
off
seeing
camera.
Yeah, I'm usually the one over there working while they're over there sitting there talking.
Well, Miller
Yeah.
Lite.
Yeah, Miller lighting it. I probably spend about, 6-7 hours a week, which really ain't nothing. I mean, modified, you get off work, we'd get off work till midnight, go to bed, get up, go to work, come back tomorrow, do it again. Seem like every week. But, 7-8 hours a week, you can go through everything on it. It don't take,
And that's not even being in a hurry.
Yeah.
I mean, you just take your time, and
And you probably do it quicker with all the help you've got that's standing off
Yeah.
camera.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's a
I work
side effect.
I work out of Lynn Beach's shop most of the time, so I don't have to deal with them clowns. You know, Jeremy comes over some, and that way we keep them out of there.
I can see where you'd wanna do that,
Yeah.
because I can tell that they're just a tremendous amount of help
Oh, man.
some nights.
Yeah.
So, it's good to have that backup back there behind you though, you know. it's,
Oh yeah, you know, every once in a while they're useful.
It's like having your own comedy show sometimes, so we enjoy it.
all these rear suspensions, and we've talked a little bit about tonight, let's talk about the 3-link suspension. And how it works, and does it help the 3-link? Does it help even the playing field out there as far as like some cars and not Mod Lites, I know have ventured off into the 4-bar setup, but how important is the 3-link to keeping the playing field out there close?
I like to keep it that way, because to me, you're going to have to involve a lot more engineering into the cars to get them on 4 lanes. It's already so narrow in the rear end, so
Mhm.
you really don't have room for extra bars and extra supports. So
It's
to
simple.
me, 3-link's simple, it's easy to work on, and it keeps the cost down.
And it's easy to learn for somebody that
Right.
may be thinking about starting out in this, because, you know, as we've been talking about, this is the fastest growing class in Arkansas and in a lot of other states. So I guess I'll follow that question up with, if you've got somebody out here that's thinking about getting involved in local racing, and like I said, you've been around a long time, you guys have, is this your vote for where somebody should look to get started?
Absolutely. Like I said, I've raced modifieds, late models, and as far as cost efficient, these are the most easiest and less expensive cars I've ever worked on.
And talk a little bit about the engines that we're running in these cars.
Most of them are all stocked. Some of them are spec, some of them are super spec, which just means they've got the tolerances close to their own, but they all got stock. Pistons, rods, valves, everything has to be stocked. They just, when they say they super spec, most of the time they just degree the cams in a little bit. And
So are we
check the valve
kind of,
outputs.
in layman terms, for people that are not associated too much with the motorcycle engine, which these cars have, are we kind of talking the same thing about the old Blueprint and the 350 Chevrolet kind of, is that, or is?
Yeah, I don't think there's quite that much involved in it, but so
No,
like I said, you have to run everything in, it's got to be stocked.
you can't port and polish.
You can't pour and polish, I mean, you can't open up the valve seats, I mean, there's a lot of things you can't do in these cars that you could do in a 350 or something.
And without giving anything away, what would the cost of an engine be for one of these?
For mine, I think I paid $3,500 for my motor, and it's on its 2nd season.
And you'll get how many seasons before you have that engine refreshed?
I've had as high as 3 seasons on mine before I rushed it. Never spent a dime on it.
I usually send mine back around 2 seasons and have it freshened up.
And let's talk about the different engines that we see out there in these cars. What's the preferred engine choice?
It's either ZX or Gixxer. To me, it's the only two out there that puts reliable horsepower and reliability in the motors.
Easier to get parts for.
And not a whole lot easier to get parts for.
Now, there's a few Yamahas out there, and there's still a few Hondas out there, but you don't see as many of them
You don't see them up front.
because they're harder to get parts for. Period.
With
I
the
mean-
power that the Gixxer and the ZXs are putting out, the other places, I mean, if you just want a cheap motor, go out there and race and have fun, you can do that with a Honda or a Yamaha to me. But to me, I want something, like me, I'm competitive, I gotta go out there and try my best to beat Blake. So I'm gonna go out there and I want a good motor, which is gonna be, to me, is ZX10.
Well, like you told me, you just said you was gonna knock him out of the way for $1,400.
It's subject to happen.
Okay. And I thought they were all stock motors. That's what everybody says.
Just depends on how you spell it.
Okay.
I've never heard it put that way.
They know the inside joke.
Oh, okay, I've never heard it put that way, and I don't think Heath has either.
There's having something from way back from Blake and then another show.
Oh, we're used to having animals on the show, so.
Take her away.
The
She can want to get in your lap.
Boone, are you gonna run up there this year, or
And that's the game plan.
that's game plan?
You know, I'm in
Both
race-
y'all?
Yeah.
I'm in race
Yep.
of champions with them. So.
All right.
I'm going just want to make the show and have fun.
I've always wanted to race Boone. I've never
Yeah.
had the opportunity to race Boone, and now we got a chance where we're actually on the card.
Have a reason to go.
We have a reason
Yeah.
to do it.
And I guess we kind of got into our new vision sports shirts, vision for the future there. And I'm going to follow that up with this question. And we asked those guys earlier, how big is it? And what's the dog's name there?
Bella.
Bella. We want to welcome Bella to the show. It's been a long time since we've had a pet. I think the last time was at Tim Crawley's in Rowena.
This is my brother's dog, and he ain't home.
But how big do you think it is to see IMCA getting involved in Mod Lite racing? How big is that for the sport of Mod Lite racing?
I think it's huge for it itself. I mean, people like IMCA got here and backs it. Where now you can get insurance for these cars for people that's driving it. Plus help bring more people into it. The rules and regulations are going to be stiffer, so the competition's going to be closer. And everything IMCA does, to me, is going to push more cars further, which to me is going to make the car counts grow.
And we can actually get, tech people now can actually have somebody for support to learn how to tech the cars instead of just trying to figure it out.
Instead of reading the rules and
No.
going, I don't really understand it, but we're going to take it anyway, they can call up there and say, hey, I need to speak to Jimmy. Jimmy's over our IMCA stuff. Jimmy
He can
explain to
explain
them
it.
on the phone, he'll do a video for them, whatever they want. He'll even show up sometimes.
Which is good. Because- And like you said, sometimes it's difficult when you're looking at a written rule. Sometimes you don't understand the spirit and the philosophy of what the actual rule writer had in mind
Mm-hmm.
when he wrote it.
Right.
Which is good to have somebody to talk and say, this is the spirit and this is the philosophy of this rule.
That's right.
Well, we hope that IMCA, we hope it does big things for this class, because myself and Heath, we're big fans of Mod
Right.
Lite racing and everything you guys do. And, like I said, we want to wish you well at you guys at Boone this year. That's just phenomenal that, we're gonna have an Arkansas contingent up there for the first time that this is going on, and obviously, a well-rounded,
Right.
contingent up there, so we got a chance to bring this, Boone title back home to Arkansas,
It's the game plan.
We got
so,
about 6 of us going from Arkansas.
Good.
just don't fight along the way, would you?
I got a ride with Dylan, so
Are y'all drawing out of a hat who's riding with who, or,
I guess.
yeah?
I drew him. I was the unlucky one.
I've been dragging Blake around since we've been racing, so
Oh.
I know where he's riding.
Well, I'm sure, and I just said that in fun, I'm sure it'll be an enjoyable ride up there.
You ain't hung out with Dylan enough.
Oh, well, guys, it's great. Like I said, it's impressive to come in here and look at what all y'all got going on. Like I said, we've got these Mod Lites sitting around here in all various stages of completion, and this is one busy outfit. And I just want to compliment you on something else. You made the comment that when y'all started out, you didn't know what you were doing. You had to start somewhere. And now we're here at a point in time in your life. You're the guy everybody's coming to. So, an old friend of ours, Bill Yates, always used to say, well, you got to start somewhere.
That's it.
And you started somewhere, and now you're the guy that everybody's coming to for information and everything, and we want to applaud you for that. So.
Well, I can tell everybody in the Mod Lights, my door's always open. 90% of them know my phone number. If anybody got any questions, all they got to do is call me, and I'll steer them in the right direction.
I wanted one of his cars last year, and he put me in it out here in Little Rock one night on practice. Drove it, said, I gotta have one. Over the winter, he started on it, and I'd come over here every day and hold this and hold that for him, and got it together, and that's the best car I've ever had.
Well, great. Well, guys, it's been an honor for y'all to invite us and you guys showing up. Heath,
Appreciate y'all coming.
what's the idea for next week? Are you going to let that out of the bag?
I ain't saying nothing yet.
I'll tell you what, he generally lets us know right before we leave the shop. So, but anyway, like I said, it's been an enjoyable night, an informative night about Mod Lite racing here in Arkansas, and it's been great being here in Mableville. And before we close out tonight's show, we want to thank our sponsors, and again, that's Chambers Bank, the 28 locations throughout Arkansas, Shaw Race Cars up in Batesville, Skyway Buick GMC. Are you helping sell cars this week? If they buy a car before, you're not going to deliver the
No, I'm
keys?
not doing it this week.
Okay.
Got wore out last week.
Got
my
wore
mom.
out last week. And like I said, Skyway Buick GMC, Kevin Rogers at KR Performance Fuels out of Texas, serves Arkansas. The Arkansas Department of Health Vaccinate Arkansas program. Also want to thank Weston Petroleum, 4-Play Speed and Muffler in Plummerville, Ecky's DCR Parts over in North Little Rock, Blankenship's Pit Stop, Straight Line Transmissions in Greenbrier, our old buddy Jim Philpott up in Greenwood at Philpott's Automotive, and our drag racing counterparts, Centerville Dragway, which I think may be opening back up after
Looks like they've
construction
got
this
their
weekend.
construction done and things looking good out there.
And also Jackie Lewis down at Prescott Dragway. So for all these guys that made the trip over here tonight and didn't fight while we were here, we appreciate them. I'm Bill Gilkey for co-host Heath Tate, and Aaron Gilkey, our production manager back there, who is the employee of the month again. We appreciate him, and we look forward to seeing you back next Tuesday night from some undisclosed location here in Arkansas
somewhere.
to talk about some type of racing. Again, thank y'all, and we'll see you next Tuesday night.